Hello and welcome to my live video. I realise I'm looking at myself on the screen and not looking at you, which is not so helpful. So in this live video, I am going to be talking about the 5 keys to creating a vision that works for you, especially in relationships. So while I'm just warming up and waiting for people to come on, I'll start talking about my own story with this, my own process. So I realised actually relationships was something I struggled with and have struggled with since I was a teenager. It was partly low self-esteem, which means not loving and liking myself enough. But it was also that I'm clairsentient. And being clairsentient means that I feel what's going on in other people. And I don't really have a sense of who I was. So with low self-esteem and with, this lack of self-love, there wasn't enough me in my life. And when there's not enough you in your life, it means that you're gonna just kind of bend and stretch and try and fit yourself into everybody else's life. But then I would be kind of completely overwhelmed by like intimacy or remotely getting close to someone. So, I would run away and hello, Nania. I would run in the other direction. And, of course, it was all fear of kind of being consumed and overwhelmed. And obviously, I've made it quite clear that I had quite a spectacular breakdown as a result of like a relationship, kind of fantasy, not really real relationship that kind of messed with my mind. And that's what opened me up spiritually. Hello, Angel. So yeah, I'm not talking to myself. That's great. So that's kind of like my background, and until I met Tony, 6 weeks was my longest relationship. Quite impressive, isn't it? 6 weeks. Yeah. So it got to a point where and actually it was when I was doing my esoteric healing, so subtle energy healing training. When we finished that, we started working more on the heart. And as my heart started opening more, that's when I got interested in guys again, and didn't have like a big wall around my heart quite as much. But it wasn't, at first, it wasn't amazing. And it was still someone pretty unavailable, interesting, but unavailable, wasn't making me a priority. And I knew about the law of attraction. So I was like, okay, well, what am I doing? Like, why is this the best that I can create in my life? Oh, Angela's joined. Hello, Angela. Why is this the best that I can do? And then I discovered like the Art of Relationship online series, and there was loads of experts like John Gray, who did the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He was in, I think Deepak Chopra was in it. Ariel Ford was the lady that coordinated it. She's got a book called Wabi Sabi Love. And then you might have heard of the term conscious uncoupling. And the woman who created that term, conscious uncoupling, she had a book called Calling in the One, which was like this process. So I religiously every day went through for 6 or 7 weeks, however long it is. I did all of the activities, met someone who my intuition told me what I was going to, and then he left after 6 weeks. And this whole kind of like, can I just, Angela can't get it to work. Oh no. Oh, well, I hope you can see me. Or watch the replay. So where was I going with that? So yeah, I completely lost my train of thought now. Never mind. Yeah, so my ego was shattered because it was like, oh, I can't even get past this 6-week barrier. What is wrong with me? Then a few months later, I had this intense pain. Well, not so much pain. It was like a really intense fear. I'd studied esoteric healing, I'd studied theta healing, and none of the tools I had were working on it. So I thought I have to go and get help. And that's when I went and got hypnotherapy. So I had hypnotherapy, and my hypnotherapist said, well, create a vision of what you want. And that's what I did. And then with the help of like a few other bits that I was studying around the time, because I was studying absolutely everything I could get my hands on to kind of change my situation. But it was the deep work that was needed. And that plus the vision is what opened up the possibility of Tony appearing, which he did quite, yeah, I mean, it was quite cool how we ended up meeting. So we met online, but we would have met anyway. That's the kind of situation that we were in. So that's kind of my story of masses of failure and struggle. That kind of, after a lot of hard work and inner work, did eventually change. And then I realized, I was reflecting on it and going, well, what was it that worked? Yay, Angela's with me now. Hurrah! What was it that worked? Why did that vision work? Why did I get the law of attraction working for me then? Because it is a bit of an elusive thing. And then I realized that it was that I had created a very thorough vision. So this quite thorough vision meant that there was no room for doubt. It's kind of, I knew what I wanted. I was very, very happy creating like an online profile, knew what I wanted, and would go out wholeheartedly looking for what I wanted. So these keys, because that's what we're here for. So the keys to the vision, I've said there's 5, it's probably like 5-ish. I had 6 and then realised one of them was actually the same step. So, I'm pretty fast and loose with my numbers. Right, so key number 1 is get clear on what you want. And by that kind of so if this is a vision for a romantic relationship, it's the same with anything as well. It is about what you want. So particularly with like a romantic relationship vision is collecting examples of what you think and feel are great relationships, or what things. So it could be, just the way someone talks to you. Like, I mean, what's coming to my mind is like, we've got a Tesco garage near here, and there's a guy that is so lovely and cheerful and happy that it just really gives you a lift. And it's like, he's not someone I'd want to get into a relationship with, but it's great that he's around. Someone like that can just really lift your spirits. Like, oh, yeah. So that's, one example of, collecting these examples. Or, have you seen other couples, the way they interact with each other, or in any relationships, any of them, just collecting all these examples of how you do want it to be. And also, so then step 2 is kind of connecting with the feeling of that, getting clear, how does that feel? What is that feeling? Because it really is connecting with the feeling, because that's what's going to really connect with your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is about emotion, it's about imagination. So, and it's a very obedient thing, and it's a very creative thing. And it will do what you tell it to do, but you kind of need to guide it to activate its creativity, if that makes sense. So you're connecting with the feeling And then your subconscious mind knows, oh, right, okay, this feeling, this is what we want to create. And you've got all of these examples that you can, it's like you can see them, you can sense them, you can feel them. And then that's helping kind of like really tell your subconscious mind, this is it, this is what we're creating. So then it can help you go out and do it. So the most important step, so it's all very well kind of like knowing what you want, but as you know, law of attraction will work with kind of the stuff that you don't want as well. And it's really good to have a good old clear out of that stuff. So you need to get clear on what behaviors you don't want. So you have permission to kind of have a total bitch fest, or it's just a real complaining fest of like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want to be criticized, I don't want to be manipulated, I don't want to feel like I'm walking on eggshells, I don't want to feel like I'm not a priority, you know, just all of these kinds of behaviors that you don't want. So feel free to, you know, share stuff in the comments that you don't want to experience in your relationships, or from any, you know, from any behavior. What is it that you really don't want anymore? So yeah, so it could be kind of, you know, being put down, being shamed, being, not the whole list, Angel, no, just a couple of examples. No, because this could really take a long time. But yeah, very good question. Like, I needed to phrase that more clearly. Not the whole list, just a couple of examples of what you don't want. Otherwise, yeah, the whole list, it would probably take more than an hour if you did it on your own, actually. We got just a couple of examples of things you really don't want in relationships. Because these, you know, you've got the pictures in your subconscious mind of what you don't want. You know, you've got that picture, and so if that's still activated, your subconscious mind is going to go like, oh, okay, right, that's still activated. It doesn't know, like, is that good or is that not good? You know, does that help you or does that not help you? Oh, that's that, you know, it's protecting you. So it's going to create situations, or it's going to help you create situations that make you feel safe. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I needed to scroll up to be able to see them. Okay. Gaslight. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. No gaslighting. Whew. Yeah. That's a big one. Abusive behavior, including narcissism. Yes. Shame-inducing behavior. Yeah. So if you don't know, gaslighting is when someone kind of, they manipulate your reality by telling you that you're wrong. You start questioning your perspective on things, and it's really not healthy. Yeah, those comments are annoying. The comments are annoying when you got to scroll down to find them and you're sitting on your own like a Wally talking to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So the next step then, so that was number 3. So you can have that good clear out, and that would probably be very cathartic in itself. But in terms of creating a vision, you don't want to stop there, because if you stop there, what you've done is you've told your subconscious mind, you've just repeated all these behaviors, and your subconscious mind doesn't know what to do with that. So what you then need to do is flip it around. So each one of those things, what is it that you do want? Okay, so for example, if it's gaslighting, which I know it is a very extreme behavior in relationships. If it's gaslighting, which is the extreme lying, flipping that round, you know, someone who tells the truth and who honors your truth, that would be, you know, a much more powerful much more intimacy, creating connection, creating space. Oh yeah, being taken for granted, Lisa, yes. So what would the opposite of that be? So off the top of my head, I mean, it would need to be in your own words, but something like being appreciated for what you do. Being taken for granted, yeah, and being put down. So what would the opposite of being put down be? Would that be, for you, is that being complimented? Is that, what else could being put down be? Being complimented, being built up, being cherished, being honoured, having your perspective honoured. So can you see how flipping it round is a very powerful process? So you're taking the negative and you're transmuting and transforming it into something way more powerful. Now, the fifth step is then, oh, what else have we got here? The opposite of being celebrated and respected. Yes, yeah, appreciated. Yes. Yeah, and being respected. Absolutely, absolutely. And, sorry, my brain's gone to Japanese, which is atarimai. Atarimai means, well, that's normal. That's what you'd expect. That's what relationships should be. I can fluff it up into something more exciting. Yes, you can. Awesome. Yeah, so, being appreciated and being respected, trying to put it in positive language as much as possible. So we're avoiding the negatives, because if you use the negative, it's like that trick about, don't think of an elephant and what are you thinking of? So your subconscious mind is thinking of an elephant. So, not being put down, your subconscious mind sees you being put down. Flip, cancel out the being put down and put in place, being respected, being complimented, seeing that picture in your mind instead. So we're replacing it with something else. Because you can't hold, this is something I'm learning on hypnotherapy, is you can't hold both at the same time. You're going to choose one or the other. So by getting clear on what you don't want and actually replacing it with what you do want as an image is a very powerful process. I know I have to list that. Yeah, okay, so yeah, leave anxious angel to put it in a box. Yes. Yeah, so you can see, so getting clear about what you do want, collecting all these examples, just the happy guy at the Tesco garage. It's a lovely example of, just really lifts you the way he talks to you. I don't know why, he's just got a really lovely vibe about him. So collecting these examples, connecting with what that feels like, how do I feel? Like, I feel really uplifted when that guy just talks to me cheerily, and that feels amazing. Getting clear on the behaviours you don't want, and have a good old bitch fest about what you don't want, but then making that important step of flipping each one, every single one, turning it round. Now, as you turn it round, you might see patterns emerging, and you might kind of get ahas as you're doing that. I was working through this with a client today, and it was so amazing, all the ahas that were popping up all over the place. And then finally, the fifth step is you then have to become a vibrational match with what you want. Okay, that's quite strong language for me. I don't usually do the dictatorial, you have to. Well, if you want that vision to manifest, it's kind of an important part of it. So, for example, if you're noticing, oh, that's so lovely, Lisa. I think that's why I struggled to come up with something I don't want, because I have everything I do want now. Oh, yes, good. So I would imagine, you had a very strong image of what you didn't want, and you flipped it around. Maybe you unconsciously did it, and you were like, this is everything I don't want, and so this is everything that I do want. And it's so lovely that you've manifested that now. So matching the vision, kind of, what do you need to do? So, I mean, I know a bit about Lisa's story, and I know that Lisa made changes and, you know, stepped into a vibrational match for that vision, you know, letting go of like what was to step into what can be. So, and this is where actually the hypnotherapy for me, when I was doing it, was so important, that once I'd had this kind of list, actually taking that into hypnotherapy or whatever modality, theta healing helps as well, emotional freedom technique, the kind of hypno journeys that I take people on as well. But having that intention of what you want and having that vision, so your subconscious mind knows what it's doing, and then using a modality that works with the subconscious mind is just such a powerful way of getting into alignment with it. So yes, those are my 5 keys. Get clear on what you want, collect all the examples, connect with what that feels like, get clear on what behaviors you don't want, flip every single behavior around to what you do want. Let me just check. Yes, yes, exactly. And I love that you're affirming what I'm saying, Lisa. I actually made a conscious decision to go for what I do want. Yes, fabulous. So flip everything around and yeah, go for what you do want and match your vision. Clear out all the blocks. Now, if you're wanting to manifest a soulmate, you know, obviously you can look through all of your past relationships and you can create this. Or if you're already in one, you can upgrade what you have by doing this process. But then remembering that you can't blame your partner for everything. You do have to kind of look at what you're contributing to what might be happening in the relationship. So those are my tips. My 5 keys to creating a vision that works for you. Now, of course, you can use that for anything else, the kinds of clients that you want to work with, or you know, anything else in your house, in your house, in your life. I don't know where house came from. But yeah, so a couple of things that I have that can help you. Obviously, you can have sessions with me. So there's, you give me a message, we can have a chat about that. I also offer, I've got theta healing training. So if you're based in Southern England, I've got some theta healing training coming up, which is a really cool tool for working with your subconscious mind and clearing out the gunk. And stay tuned for a new program that I've, well, it's the program I already have that's kind of been vamped up and upgraded, and I'm really excited about it. Yes, love the concept of upgrade. Yes, you can upgrade what you have. You don't have to. Like you know, we grow and evolve and change. So thank you so much for joining me, and it's been so lovely to have to actually advertise it beforehand, so there's people there to interact with. Yay! Because I usually just do it like, do you pop a link to the sessions in the comments? Yes, that's a very good point, Sandra. Thank you. Yes, yeah, you should be my business partner. Cool. Yes, Angel, you're trying. I know you are. You are doing absolutely everything, which is, yes. Praise yourself for that. If you're not going to get it from somebody else, you praise yourself for that. Yes, that part of it is kind of like acknowledging your own contribution to it, because that's all important too. So, oh yes, happy Halloween. Yeah, we're probably going to go and get inundated with kids wanting like sugar rushes. So enjoy the rest of your Halloween, and yeah, let's all have these amazing shining relationships, letting go of any behaviors that we don't want anymore, to invite in higher level, high vibe, fantastic, shining, heart-opening, amazing relationships. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.